Hello everybody, Shinjo here, and welcome back to Let's Talk Anime. This episode is episode 63, and I have 3 other topics to discuss, so let's get started. We're definitely starting off with something. First up is Eminence in Shadow. So, where do I even begin with this? So, I guess let's start with the negatives this time, because I normally start with the positives. The stuff I didn't like is, first of all, I would have been fine with this show just being the way it was presented in the first episode, and Sid not being transported into the isekai world. Because I mentioned this in other videos that I discussed isekai. Any of these could have been just the same thing, but just set in a fantasy world. The other thing I'm just curious about is this show supposed to be a rom-com, a satire, or is it supposed to be serious? Because the rom-com, the main dude, Sid, or Kageno, whatever you want to call him, I'll just call him Eminence because that's just easier. He has all these women around him, so romantic would make sense. But is it supposed to be a satire? Because he constantly makes jokes about, I'm supposed to be the background character, but I'm ending up being the main character or some bull like that. I can't remember. Or is it supposed to be played straight and serious? Because I don't know which route they're trying to take. At the end of the day, it's just kind of generic. Like, I don't even know what to say about it. I don't remember much about it besides the first episode. And that's a good way to go into the pros, because I really liked the first episode. I liked the interaction with Nishita and Kageno. I would have preferred if the show would have just been Nishita discovering Kageno's secret identity after he saves her, and then the whole show being something along those lines. Because they wouldn't really be able to play it as a joke where people are almost finding out about a secret identity, but they don't. But no, he just transports into an isekai at the very last second. It almost feels like it's 2 different shows. It might be just me, and I know that there's definitely some people that like it because of how bizarre that it is. Personally, I just don't care for it. But that's enough of that. Let's get on to something more positive. Cube arts. So, this one was suggested to me on my Discord, and it took me a little bit to find a way that I could read it online, but I managed to find it. So, another disclaimer, whenever somebody recommends a manga, I'll do my best to try and find it so I can read it online, but if I can't, I won't. I'm sure there have been other situations where I haven't been able to discuss something because I couldn't find it. So if you want to recommend a manga, please leave a link if you can. But anyway, Cube Arts is, wouldn't you know it, another isekai. I mean, the term isekai is very loose at this point. I would describe it as an isekai because there are a bunch of high school boys and girls, and they get transported into what's basically Minecraft. I like the concept of it. I really like the idea of this being kind of like a kiddified Sword Art Online, because it's still kids getting transported through VR, but it's Minecraft. And the start of the show, or start of the manga, makes you think that it's innocent enough, but it turns into what's basically described as a nightmare. And I know I'm going into speculation discussing this, but I have no doubt that Noah and Now are related. I can't remember which one is which. I know the blonde-haired girl joins the group. I think she's Now? She's Now or Noah? I think she's Noah. And then there's also the fairy guide that always guides you. There's some sort of connection there, because the names are so similar that there just can't be. And Noah definitely knows more than what she's letting on. She's definitely knowing something about this that is probably going to come in later. The other positive is, even though I know very little about Minecraft, there might be a group of people that know very little about Minecraft. You know, maybe 10 or 12 people maybe. But even without knowing anything about it, I still enjoyed reading this. It had me on the edge of my seat. It was very entertaining. Only thing that I didn't like is, well, besides the fact that it was a pain to try and find a link, but also I just didn't care when some of these characters died. Like, they had a group of 4, and one of them just instantly dies, so it didn't really give me time to get attached to that person. And if that's the only time that we see them, it just feels kind of pointless. Like, I get it, they're all friends and whatnot, but if that's how quickly somebody could go, is it any point in getting attached to somebody? But really, that's all that I can say about this. I definitely read a lot more about it. I could go into specifics about how they build stuff in this world and how everything works out. But overall, it was just really enjoyable. I would be happy if they made an anime about it, but I don't know how they would, because then they have to get around Minecraft lawsuits, so I don't know how easy that would be. But let's finish this episode off with Kamen Rider Geats. Or, I'm pretty sure it's Geats, because they pronounce it like that in the show. So, Kamen Rider Geats is another Kamen Rider. I swear, there must be just like a group on my YouTube videos that just watches everything I discuss Kamen Rider, and I just don't know enough about this. But, overall, everything that I can think about with this show is really positive for once. I like the concept of it. I thought for sure at the beginning it was gonna be a new Kamen Rider, the main character, and all these legacy characters. Kind of like equivalent to the Yu-Gi-Oh universe is, say, Yusaku is the main character, and they decide, let's go to a tournament. And in that tournament, you see characters like Yugi, Jaden, Yusei, Yuma, and all these characters. I thought that what the concept was going to be. The way they do it here is really good as well, because it's a situation where if you're the last one standing, you get to make a wish and make the world the way that you want, which ties back to the main character's job interview at the very start of the show. That's really cool. I like the idea of this battle royale and how they're basically covering it up to fight against these monster things. Just from what I'm seeing, I'm sure that the angel sort of ringmaster of all of this, I'm sure that there's more to her than meets the eye. There's probably some evil side to her that's gotta be brought up later, because there's just something about her that I don't exactly trust. Also, I like how we're gradually learning more about these different characters' wishes. Main character wants world peace because of course he does, he's the main character. And then we have what's probably going to be the love interest, what's her name? Nano, the idol thing. And her wish at the first point seems to be for an unrequited love of some kind, but I'm definitely sure that there's something more to that. Especially considering how she's brought up, her parents' situation like that. But I also like that there's that anti-hero that says, oh, I'm gonna donate this money to poor orphan kids, and then just turns around and says, ha, I was lying this whole time, I've duped you. I really like that, because it makes it so not everybody is wholesome. Other people just do anything that it takes to win. I'm sure that a lot of people that watch this could see parallels with shows like Survivor. I've never seen it, but the whole elimination thing and the whole traitor side is really cool. Overall, a few things that I can say that I wasn't the biggest fan of is, first of all, we have the main character, which I probably should have wrote down his name because I don't remember it at all. But you have the main character, the one that has the Tanuki hat, which is a nice callback to the soup that he had earlier on in the show. He's just here like, I want world peace. I want everybody to be happy. You know, standard shonen protagonist stuff. But then he gets his worldview challenged by, what's his name? The dude that won the previous round. And he's just like, not everything is going to be cut and dry like this. Not everything's going to go your way. But he kind of just goes back to what he does later in the show. It would be cool if he kind of had more time to think about, like, maybe world peace isn't the best idea and start second guessing himself. I would have liked that. Because there was that moment where he does, but it just feels like it was completely scrapped. And while it's not really a negative, it's not really a positive, I'm still not used to watching real people in an anime. I'm sure there are a lot of people that do. I mean, Power Rangers is definitely one thing that takes anime inspiration, but me personally, I'm just not used to it yet, so it took a little bit to get used to. But overall, I like the concept. I like most of the characters so far. Not a big fan of the guy that's just all bubbly and positive. I'm sure he's got a tragic backstory. Everybody seems to. But that is going to be it for this episode of Let's Talk Anime. If you enjoy, hit that like button down below, subscribe if you haven't. If you have any recommendations for Let's Talk Anime, leave them down in the comment section, and I'll see you next time. Momentai.